Hey y'all, welcome to the Honesty Circle. It is me, your host, Sierra Elise, and I hope you're taking care of not only your spiritual and mental health, but I hope you're taking care of your emotional and physical health so you can be your best self this week. Today's episode is going to be about navigating the lows in life. The lows in life are inevitable. Life isn't life without ups and downs because we all go through them. But knowing how to navigate and work through them is very important. A lot of times when we're in those low times, it's a lot of emotion and feelings, and we don't know how to get out of or work through those. And so that's what I want to talk about today. My personal experience with my low in life, I was really depressed towards the end of 2019. I had lost a family member, and it was the first family member I think that I actually felt the loss. And at that same time, both of my sisters had just moved out of state to go to college. And I really just felt like I was losing myself. I didn't know what was going on, how to work through those emotions. I was really sad. I wasn't being the typical Sierra. I wasn't hanging out with my friends. I wasn't even talking with my friends. If it wasn't work or school, the likelihood of me doing it was slim to none. And in this time, I just found it was really just hard to do on my own. I found that I needed people. I needed professional help at the same time. And I learned that all of that was okay. I learned that it was okay that I didn't need to do it by myself. I just also had to relearn Sierra because since things were changing in my life, I had to redefine how I felt a sense of security. And so when I also think about lows in life, not only my personal experience comes to mind, but the experience in the Bible with Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19. I'm going to give a short summary about the chapter. If you get a chance to read it, I suggest that you do. 1 Kings 19 is a story about Elijah, like I said. And during this time, the people of Israel were not following the covenant. All the prophets had been killed, and Jezebel sent a message to Elijah and basically saying that he's going to be next. Elijah was so scared that he ran away, and in his journey away, he really was ready to give up. He actually told God that he wanted to die. And in the journey of leaving, after he went to sleep, an angel came to him and told him to get up and eat. And when he got up, or opened his eyes to eat, there was bread and water there at his head for him to eat. And then he goes back to sleep. And then again, the angel says, get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you. And then he ate, and the food gave him strength to travel 40 days and 40 nights to the mountain of God, it's also called Mount Sinai. At the mountain of God, God instructed him to stand on the mountain and to wait for the presence of God. In that time of waiting, there were strong winds, there was an earthquake, and there was fire. So all of this noise, all this ruckus was happening, but God wasn't in any of those things. After all that, God came in a whisper, and God instructed Elijah to go back the same way that he came to the desert of Damascus. And in that place of the Damascus, the desert, that's like where he first experienced God. And so that's kind of like a powerful time in his journey. When I read this story, a few points came to my mind about what can I pull from this, and what does this teach us about navigating times of sadness, times of wanting to give up. So one thing I want to point at is how Elijah communicated with God. In the beginning, he really told God, he was honest about how he was feeling. He was like, God, I want to die. I don't want to be here anymore. And I think that in that honesty, God was able to help move and work in that situation because Elijah invited God into that low moment with him. So that's one thing I want to challenge everyone to do is when you feel those low moments, talk to God and invite him in the situation with you and be completely vulnerable and honest with God about what's going on and how you actually feel. Another thing I wanted to note was how God told him the angel told him to eat and drink. And so I think that for me, that was very important because I know when I was depressed, it was hard to take care of myself because I wasn't eating or drinking like I should. I was also physically weak. So not only was my mental being going through war, but my physical body didn't have the strength to go through what I needed to go through. But in this too, I see that God provided the food. God will provide even in those low moments. And we just have to like receive what he's provided for us. Another thing I see is how Elijah was obedient to not only God, but the messenger of God, which is like the angel. In these times, and it's really hard to like rely and listen to other people. But when God sends someone to speak to you, like we have to listen and to receive those, because it's really for them. They're here to help us, right? And so for me, I know when I was in a low place, God was using my mom. I'm telling y'all, God was using my mother, Saina Davis, because she would like text me. Mind you, like I wouldn't really tell her everything. I mean, I would kind of told her how I was feeling, how I was kind of like sad, and she kind of thought I was grieving and stuff like that. But she didn't know everything, and so what God must have been speaking to her, because she would like text me encouragement. She would text me like making sure I was eating, drinking water, even like exercising. Even if I didn't feel like it, the days when I felt like not eating, not moving, staying in the bed all day. Those are like the days when my mom would like text me, and I would be like, dang, how does she know? Like I'm literally in bed, like feeling like I'm ready to give up for real. You know, when those people are inserting knowledge to you, it's important to be receptive as much as you don't feel like it, because it's really hard to go against what you feel. But you also have to think about like doing this is going to help me feel better. It's going to give me the strength to get through this race. And also another thing I see in this is how Elijah was in the position to hear God. He was obedient to God when God told him to stand on the mountain. And he also was in that position because since he was obedient, he was in the position to hear from God about the next steps to help him feel better and help get through that journey. And also the last part, like I said, God instructed him to go to the desert of Damascus. That just reminds me of like how it's important to sometimes go back to the basics. Think about what makes you you. For me, it was eating was something that I had to do, but also like exercise. I wasn't moving. Y'all, I'm a pretty active person, so I wasn't doing any of that. And so when my mom would tell me to like, just go on a walk and do something, get your body moving. In this time, just know you're not alone, and as alone that you feel, and you might even isolate yourself like I did when you're in those low times in life, but you're not alone. You have God, and also God is sending people. When you're honest with him about your feeling, God will send you people to help get through those hard times. Just know you're not alone at all. This week's 2 cents is a song that I like that reminds me that God is always there for me when I'm feeling low. The song is called Pulling Me Through by Todd Delaney, and I think you should check it out, or not. That's just my 2 cents. That's all I have for today, guys. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked anything that you heard, be sure that you subscribe, share with a friend, and also follow us on Instagram at The Honesty Circle with an _ at the end. Thanks so much again for listening, and go conquer your week.